Now, this is going to be a short, sharp episode to help you get through the scary Decembers or the December scaries, because I know when it gets to this time of the year, it's easy to say, no one wants to buy, no one wants to speak to me, my opportunities are pushed out for next year, and give up. Okay, it can feel like that if you have not, if it's your first time in the industry doing this, if you've got a team that are feeling like this, it's totally normal. It happens to the best of us. Now, the reason why this is happening is because the end of the year marks an end of the line and they're starting again in January. We know people take leave. Depending on where you are in the world will depend on how much leave. I always find the UK don't take as much leave because it's winter and everyone just would rather work. And then during summer, they take it during the school holidays, whereas I'm in Australia and over here, everyone takes 6 weeks off. And to be honest, they take longer. I have never known a state or country quite like it, and they are off. And that's not everybody. I'm sure people are shouting at me down the podcast line saying, no, that's not me. I'm working. I'm here. But the reason why I share that is that you need to understand the way and the process and the journey that your clients are on and the industries you deal with and when they close and when they open and when the school holidays are. And so December is just another one of them. And if you feel like you've exhausted, or if you have exhausted, if you have exhausted everything and you are now at a loss of what to do next because there's nothing really happening and your manager is telling you what to do, or your team are feeling a bit deflated, then we need to go back to our mindset, because our mindset will determine what is true. If you believe you can, you can. If you believe you can't, you can't. You're always right. And so whenever it comes to December, if you think of December's going to be crap, it's going to be a slow month, it's not going to work for me, it's when everything drops off, guess what? Everything will drop off. Everything will feel hard. Everything will feel like it takes forever. When you then think of it differently and you say, well, December, like running towards December, we're now mid-November, running towards December is exciting. For me, I know that these last, this quarter, every quarter, I know what's going to happen. And in this last quarter, I know that it's when people start thinking about January. It's when people start thinking about what's going to happen. It's when people start freaking out about the fact they've not hit their number for the annual calendar year and they want to make a change, but they're usually seeing that in September. So we book things in, we do October, November, December. We very rarely recommend kicking off something new in December. So we often, I think the last 2 years we just haven't done it, and we push them into January. So I'm actively pushing people into January. We will do December if you're already a client, or if you've worked with us previously, or if it's something strategic, then we will do something in December. Sales audits, strategy reviews, all of that happens at any time during the year. But the kickoffs are now being positioned. We've got an extremely busy week. The first week back in it's our second week. Our first week back, it's the second week of January, is extremely busy already with kickoffs for team engagements. It's also a quieter time for many, so people are thinking about how to utilize that time. Now, if I look at my clients and the companies they're engaging with, they've got goals to meet. They've got targets to meet. And so we're utilizing the warm opportunities, and warm is anybody that has engaged with you previously or your organization through an event, a download, interacted with content, whatever that may be, or have previously inquired. Now is the time to reignite and update. And if you are fact finding, if that's the only thing you're able to do, fact find and set up and align yourself for January. If you are trying to close deals now, especially in the tech industry, you've got to align with where does that sit within their priorities? What impact is that having in other areas of the organization? What does it mean to the organization if we can get this running? A lot of businesses want things done over the Christmas period. Education, local government, they all want stuff doing over the Christmas period. So consider where that will land and consider how you pull that into play, but know that it needs to happen earlier. If you are coming at the, end of November, beginning of December saying like, what can I do? There's lots you can do, but we are going to be stuck pushing against timing or pricing or discounting. And we don't want to do that. We don't want to discount. We don't want to rush it through, but we need to leverage what we know about why did they want it? Why was the goal prior to Christmas? What impact will this have if they don't get it in place prior to then? Okay. So all of these pieces are going to be, all these questions are going to really help you. Ensure you get the right people in, drive the conversation with the next meetings, the next confirmed opportunity to connect and get the right people in the room. Understand any roadblocks or any objections before they arise. And if anything is being pushed out, or if you are speaking to people where you're trying to find opportunity and they're not ready right now and they're trying to brush that off, lock them in to a conversation for January. Okay. But your mindset of how December is going to be and how it looks and what's happening will determine everything. It will determine who, the success of it. It will determine what your energy will be like. It will determine what your days will look like. And so if you are late to this point, make a note for next year. It's going to help you prior to leave or prior to long holidays. So Easter is also one that can kind of scupper a few things. If you're in the UK, you may not be feeling this pinch as much as people in Australia, but you will do during school holidays. And everyone talks to me about July and August being the worst month to sell. Well, it is if you're not prepared. December is a bad month to sell if you are not prepared. And again, I'm talking about specific industries. If you are selling Christmas crackers or if you're selling presents for children, I'm sure you'll be killing it. We're talking about technology that takes, 3 to 6 months to close. We're talking about implementation and documentation and handover and running, in line with compliance. So there's so much to take into consideration. So make sure you're qualifying. Make sure you've got your next opportunities confirmed. Make sure your mindset is in check. And if you are managing a team, get your team together. Talk about the expectations. Share with them what else they can be doing so you can focus on activities rather than outcome if the outcome is not being achieved. Okay, that's another great way to go back. I will reference in the show notes a podcast we did about setting targets and about when to reduce them and when to increase them. And that may give you some other food for thought as well around this time of year. But every time of year, every month, every day, every week is a great time to be selling. It's a great time to be connecting. It's a great time to be qualifying. It's a great time to schedule and plan your next steps as you move through. So I hope you're having a wonderful start to December if this is you. And if this has resonated with you, if you have got some challenges, drop me a note. I answer live questions through my DMs on LinkedIn all the time. So if you are struggling with something, if you want something to help you specifically, let me know. I love having you here. We will keep you going until the end of the year with the sales episodes and updates. So thank you for being here. If you're not already, go over and subscribe or give us a little like on the Sell Like You podcast, and have a very successful week ahead.